How many tennis balls can fit into an airplane? How many cab rides are taken in Mumbai every day? How many smartphones are sold in India every year? What's the current value of the Sensex? Will India become a developed economy by 2047? When will artificial general intelligence be developed? Now, I can't tell you the answer to the last three questions, but I can help you figure out the answer to the first three questions by using this technique called guesstimates. That's really important for budding managers, particularly if you want to become a consultant. If you're new here, hi, I'm Sanjana from Mockat, where you get directly mentored and coached by 99.9 plus percentilers. So, what exactly is guesstimating and how do we use it to find the answer? Now, guesstimates are basically questions like the ones that I asked you, where you don't know the answer and you're not expected to know the answer either. You are expected to guesstimate it or come up with the answer using logical reasoning. It's more about how you are finding the answer rather than are you getting to the correct answer or not. So basically, you'll start with whatever limited information you have. So take my example about cab rides in Mumbai. So you could start with, maybe the number of cars on the road, or you could start with the population of Mumbai or something like that. And then come up with reasonable assumptions using logic and figure out the answer using a structured method. Once you have an approach, you're able to use logic, then you'll use a little bit of mental maths to calculate the answer. And this is a skill set that every MBA grad should have. Because a lot of the times, managers would be expected to make decisions with limited data. Maybe you're launching a new product, but you're not sure of the consumer demand or what competition is doing. Or maybe you're a banker and you're evaluating a loan or you're evaluating a project that you're going to fund. You wouldn't know everything, but you'll take what you know and sort of use your analytical and reasoning skills to come up with the answer, figure out whether the product is viable or not, whether the project is something that makes sense for your company to invest in or not, what could potentially the demand be, and many other things like these. And that is why guesstimates are important for all MBA grads, no matter what roles they take up, but they are particularly important for consultants. And every consulting interview will have a few of these thrown in because it helps the interviewer to test if you have a structured approach. Are you able to make logical assumptions and get your answer? Do you have presence of mind if they hit you with a question and you're not able to figure it out? And they'll also be able to test your communication skills. Now that you know how important guesstimates are, how do you go about solving them? So use this step-by-step process. First off, break the problem into parts. So if you have to figure out how many cab rides are taken in Mumbai daily, start with either the population, and then you have to find out how much of the population would be taking cabs, or you could estimate the number of vehicles on the road and then figure out what percentage of those would be cabs as opposed to public transport or personal cars. Once you have some form of information, then you can make reasonable assumptions. So for example, if you know the population, then you can say that probably somewhere around 10 to 20% people will be taking cabs. If you say 50%, it doesn't make sense because a lot of people use public transport. Many people might not even travel daily. So say someone that's a homemaker would be at home, a child, right? So there'll be a lot of these that you have to think of. Once you have all of these moving parts, then you can approximate by using a little bit of mental maths, right? Typically, it will be addition or multiplication that you are using, but you have to think that through and you have to actually showcase your calculation. As you are calculating, if there is some extra information that you have, maybe you know how many office goers are there in Mumbai. So what you can do is you can cross check based on things like these and make sure that you're explaining the steps to the interviewer. A lot of times people just do it in their head, but what the interviewer wants to see is your approach and your thought process. So you've got to take them through it step by step. And now let's use these steps to solve the questions that I posed in the beginning of the video. Now, I haven't checked the answers or anything. The answers could very well be wrong. I don't think they would be too far off, but what you should concentrate on is the method. This is also not the only method possible. There are multiple ways in which you can arrive at the answer. There's no one right answer. This is just the way that it has occurred to me. And so I'll take you through. And you can probably use this as inspiration to figure out, similar methods depending on the question. So the first was how many tennis balls can fit into an aeroplane. So the first time that I heard this question, I was like, oh my God, how can I even do it? I don't even know the volume, right? But you can estimate it. So the way I would start is, let's start by choosing a common plane. Now, the Airbus A320 is one of the common planes which I know, but you don't even need to have a name. You can say that, okay, I'll just use, the aeroplanes that the domestic airlines like Indigo and all take. So even something like that would be fine. Then, based on the plane, what you can do is you can actually estimate the length and the breadth. So, say for example, typically planes will have 30 rows, and each row will have 6 seats. So, 6 seats, let's assume 1.5 feet for each seat. So, 1.5 into 6, that's 9 feet. And let's say the aisle will be another 2 feet. So, that becomes 11 feet. That's our breadth. And then the length again 30 rows into, let's say, 2 feet per row, right? So that becomes 60 feet. Add another 10 to 20 feet for the cockpit, the galley area, and so on, right? So we can take somewhere around, say, 75 feet. Now, the height is also something which I can estimate. Having stood up in planes, I know that, there's this overhead compartment and all of that. So say something like 9 to 10 feet. Once I have this, I wouldn't bother figuring out the exact volume, right? We can't do it. It's like a, weird shape. But what I can do is I can just take it to be a cylinder and I can calculate the volume of that. And then I can divide it by the volume of a tennis ball. And remember, make it easy for yourself. Don't say that, oh, a tennis ball is going to be 2.54 inches, radius or diameter, and then you're stuck. Try to take something which is easy for you. So say, for example, you can take something which is a multiple of 7, because when you are using pi, you can take pi as 22 by 7. And then you've got to calculate and tell them your answer. Definitely try this out. And now let's calculate the second one that I've been speaking about. And as I said, I'd start with the population of Mumbai. So taking the people who live in the outskirts also, or maybe people who travel to Mumbai for work, will take somewhere around 25 million to be the population. I could be a little off. As I said, I haven't checked it out. Now, from these people, we'll have to figure out what's the percentage of people who use cabs regularly. So you can eliminate children, you can eliminate people who are older, you can eliminate people who are either working from home or, who live close by and they're, walking to work. You'll also probably eliminate homemakers. So all of these are there. Plus, you will have people who will use public transport and people who will have their own cars or their own vehicles. So say about, 10 to 20% is a good assumption. Now, I would definitely recommend going with either 10 or 20. I would not want to calculate 15% of 25. That just makes my life difficult. So take 10%, that's 2.5 million. And that's it. Now, how many cabs do they use? Now, if somebody is going to office, of course, they are going and then they are coming back also. But you would also have people who are maybe, taking a cab one time. Some people would be taking it multiple times. Maybe they have 2 meetings in a day, right? So they are actually taking a cab 4 times. So all inclusive, I would say somewhere around 1 to 1.5 on average. If you are taking a higher estimate, like say 2, because, people go to office and come back, that is perfectly fine as well. So 2.5 into say 1.5 or 2.5 into 2, that becomes 5 million cab rides daily. Make sure that you calculate this out and give them the answer. They're also looking for the mental math part. And now the last one, how many smartphones are sold in India every year? So I'd first try to figure out how many phones are used in India. So I'll start with the population, somewhere around 140 crores, and say you have about 120 crore people who are using phones, not smartphones, any phones. That's because you'll have people who are really young and people who are really old who will not be using phones. So say about 120 crore people will use phones. Now, of them, let's take about one third people who will be having smartphones. These days, you do have smartphones anywhere from 10, 12,000 all the way, of course, to 1 lakh plus. So it is comparatively affordable. So we can assume that one third of the people will have it. So 120 by 3 becomes 40 crores. Now, of course, you're not buying a smartphone every year. So I would assume that you're buying a smartphone once in 3 years, right? So that way you have 40 by 3, which is 13.33. Now, a better thing to do is look at, once every 2.5 years or something, just to make the math easier. But this is enough. So we have 13.33 crore people that are buying a smartphone every year. So that's 13.33 crores. But I would also add some bit for the people who have regular phones. So we said 120 crore phones and 40 crore of them are smartphones. So that leaves us with 80 crore people who have regular phones. Now, out of these 80 crore people, let's assume about 5% of people are able to upgrade to a smartphone every year. The economy is comparatively doing well. People have disposable income and more people are being added in the middle class every year. So 5% of this 80 crores, somewhere around 4 crores more, 4 plus 13.33, 17.33 crores smartphones every year. Now that you've understood how to calculate guesstimates, let me tell you some common mistakes to avoid. So don't come with random guesses. Oh, I feel that, there'll be 5 million cab rides that are taken. Oh, I feel that, there'll be this many smartphones which are sold. Figure out a logical, a structured way. Second, not taking time. These are definitely questions where you can take a minute to think and come up with the best approach. You could even change your approach halfway through. If you've just started, you've given them like a couple of points, you say, I'm really sorry, sir, I'm really sorry, ma'am. I feel that I have a better approach. Is it okay if I switch? And that's fine. The other common thing which people do is they do a lot of the thinking in their mind and they don't state things out loud. So if they are taking some assumption or they are, calculating some steps, you might just skip it. So make sure that you are stating everything out to the interviewer and allowing him or her to just see the process that you are using. One more tactical error which people sometimes make is, complicated calculations. So as I said, if you are finding, the area or volume of anything which is circular or spherical, just use a number which is a multiple of 7, because then you can use pi as 22 by 7 instead of, having to calculate 3.14 into something and making it tougher. Or you could also make sure that, you're going for things like 10%, 15%, 20% or whatever. Multiples of 5 or 10 or even multiples would probably make it easier than saying, okay, I feel that, it's 17%. Now, an important thing is, even though the answer is something that you wouldn't know, commonly available information is something that you'd be expected to know. So if you get the population of India wrong, say for example, you feel it's like 100 crores, or if you say that, oh, the population of, Mumbai or Delhi is 2 million instead of say 20 to 30 million, then these are things for which, you'll sort of not make a great impression. And last thing is, if you are getting something wrong and the examiner is trying to help you out, if you don't listen. So make sure that even though you're calculating and, you'll be probably thinking a lot in your head, make sure that you are listening to them also and seeing if they are trying to sort of, work with you and help you out. Now, one more thing which would help you is just knowing these common numbers. So start with, India's population, the population of metros, as well as the population of your city and town. Because a lot of the times these guesstimates are things which could be made on the spot, or they could just change it. So instead of saying, cab rides in Mumbai, they could just say cab rides in your city. So make sure that you know these. Another thing to know is, certain key stats about India. So the median age, for example, right now is 28, which means that, half of the people are 28 or less. The percentage of people who live in urban India versus rural, certain things like, the average family size. I typically take it as 4 members. If you have questions like, how many vehicles are there in your city, or how many pets are there in let's say Delhi or something like that, if you know the population, you can just divide by 4 and say that, so this is the average number of families, and I feel that, X% people will have a pet, so this is how many pets would be there. Dimensions. So knowing India's length and breadth from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, as we say, the area of metros, your city. I would also know the length of the equator, just in case. And couple of other good things would be, knowing the number of students or the number of working professionals in India. You can also estimate this. So, for example, I did engineering, so I know that there are about 10 lakh engineers who graduate every year, which means at any given time there are about 40 lakh engineering students. And then similarly, I can extrapolate for medical, law, people who are pursuing BSc, BA, BCom, and so on. So you could even do something like this. So start with whatever limited information you have, but this is something which you can keep in your arsenal, as well as the number of digital transactions, so daily or annual UPI transactions. And I would also recommend something like, how many ATMs are there in India, how many bank branches, how many debit cards, credit cards, things like this. You don't need to go super into detail, but definitely, estimates can be created around these. Now, if you found this interesting and you want to try your hand at more, then check out Ankalan, which is part of SIBM Pune's National Level Consulting Conclave, that's Paramarsh. It's being held on Unstop, and the registrations are live till the 15th of February. So I'll see you there.